having fun has to be expensive, think again. God calls us to be wise managers of all that he gives us, but we're also allowed to enjoy some fun sometimes too. And we can do it on a budget while still glorifying him as wise stewards. Today, I'm going to share 25 ideas for free or very cheap activities that are actually fun, so you can enjoy yourself, make memories, and still hit those financial goals, all while being a wise steward of God's money. I'm Sarah, I'm a certified financial educator, and this channel is called It's All His because it all belongs to God. And here I want to help you manage God's money, God's way for God's glory, and find the joy and peace that comes when you do. So if that sounds like something that would help you, consider subscribing for new videos every week. And let's get into talking about how we can make our budget stretch while still having lots of fun. Now, I'm going to give you some ideas that are somewhat general because you don't live in the area that I live. But if you live here in the States, you should be able to find ideas like these or similar types of things wherever you are. I currently live somewhere where I can be in a biggish city in 45 minutes to an hour, but I'm also really close to rural areas and suburban areas and several different small towns too. So there are a variety of options here, and it should hopefully help you find ideas no matter where you live. So take some of these ideas and just search. All right, my first idea is look for free tours. And you can get really creative with this. There are tons of places that want to let people know what they are, what they do, what service they provide, and they are willing to open their doors and give tours. And oftentimes these tours are going to include freebies that go along with the free tour. When our kids were younger as homeschoolers, we looked for these a lot. We've done tours of garden centers and grocery stores and different factories. You can find media centers and gold mines and radio stations, all kinds of places that want to educate the population and open their doors and let people see what they're doing. And like I said, a lot of times you'll get little goodie bags, maybe some treats, some snacks, even a free meal. I used to live close to a famous jelly bean factory, and their tour was one of the things we would always do when somebody came to visit. It was really cool to see how the jelly beans were made, and then you got to sample a bunch and you left with a free bag of jelly beans and a cool hat. It was always so much fun, and we did it multiple times. As I'm filming this, it is early spring, and that means it's time for people to start planting their flower pots in their gardens, and many local garden centers or nurseries will host events. And I found one nearby here where they're going to do a container garden design class for free. I've even seen larger greenhouses that will do a tour, and you get to take home a free plant with you. So these can be really fun things. And again, almost all of them are completely free. The most you have to do is just get online and usually just sign up for a spot so they can be prepared. They give you a free ticket like on your phone that you can show them, but it costs you nothing, and it can be a great way to spend an afternoon. And in this situation, you might even leave with a free plant. It can also be the time of year where a lot of local cities are doing their festivals. So it might be the festival for whichever produce they grow in that area, or maybe it's a festival, certain kinds of music. You can even find different ones during different holidays. And a lot of times these festivals will come with a local parade that you could go to. So look for those types of things in your town, or if there are other small towns in your area or big towns in your area that you can just figure out, what is that town doing? When are they having their local festival? And you can go and just make a day of it. You can just hang out, and these things are usually free to attend. Sometimes there might be a charge for parking depending on where it is, but usually that's very inexpensive. A lot of towns and cities will have their summer concert series, which is multiple nights during the summer where you can just go and enjoy a free outdoor concert. Bring a chair, bring some snacks, and just sit and enjoy some free music. Check out local churches in your area. They're often hosting different outreach events. It might be something like a family movie night or a certain type of festival. Maybe there's going to be a sports camp or a VBS in the summer for your kids to attend. I found that local community colleges are often having different types of events to highlight their programs. So we recently took our youngest son to our local technical college so that he could learn a little bit about the programs that they offer there. So he was able to go. We just signed up online, completely free. He toured through the different classes he was interested in, saw the departments, spoke with different professors, and then they provided a catered dinner for our entire family for free. So check into stuff like that. You might be able to learn a little bit about what's going on in your area and just enjoy a night out and maybe some free food. Your local library is also a great resource to see different activities, clubs, and events that they might be hosting. Whether you have kids, it could be things like story time or mommy and me programs. We took part of a lot of the summer reading programs when our kids were homeschooling. Every week they would have cool shows that the kids could go to, magic shows and other things like that, and it was completely free, and it's just a nice way to spend an afternoon without breaking the bank. My local library recently did a genealogy and family history expo where if you signed up, you even got a free catered lunch when you attended. If you live in or near an area that's known for a lot of history, Doing a self-guided tour can be a great way to spend some time for free. Just go online or look up YouTube channels that do this type of thing. I'm gonna link a link to History Traveler in the description. He has an awesome channel where he does things like that, where he'll take you to different places and tour you around, and he does all kinds of cool stuff. So I'll link him down below. Highly recommend JD and his channel there. But figure out the tour, and you could just go, and you don't have to pay for a tour. You can go at your own pace. You can focus on looking at the things that you're actually interested in seeing, and even get a little exercise in too. Exploring a local park can be a great way to spend an afternoon if you've got nice weather. If you've got kids, they have built-in entertainment right there. And if you can find one that has a splash pad in the summer, bonus, just bring your towels and your sunblock and some snacks, and you can kill an entire day and have a blast with your kids for free. Maybe pack a picnic with your spouse or your significant other and go and enjoy a relaxing picnic in the park. That can be as expensive or inexpensive as you want to make it. If you love planes like I do and you live near any kind of airports, big or small, go find the spot, usually the airport can tell you, where you can go and watch the planes taking off and landing. Kids love this kind of thing, but some of us grown-ups actually find it pretty cool too. And one of the bigger airports in my area actually recently just built a cool like park structure where you can bring your kids and they can play on the park, and they're also able to see the planes, the big planes taking off and landing. So look into something like that. It can be a really fun way to just spend an afternoon without having to spend any money. Look for local hiking trails if you like getting some exercise and getting outside. These can be things that are very simple. You can find a lot of paved trails or paths where you can go and get a little exercise without having to have all of the gear. Or I'm sure you can find trails if you do really like exercising and hiking and you have all of that type of gear too. But this can be a great way to get some activity in and spend the day outside and not cost any money. Maybe there'll be some cost to park depending on where you're going to hike, but usually it's very inexpensive. We've even hiked at historical trails where you get to walk up to different monuments, and they'll have like a small museum on site, and it was completely free. So look into that in your area and see if there are things that might fit the bill. You can also find local public gardens that are usually available to just walk around inexpensively. Maybe you pay to park, maybe not. States will often have their state botanical gardens, which again, might be free to you if you're a resident of that state, or maybe a small parking fee. These things can be very, very budget friendly. They don't have to cost a lot, and you can really enjoy yourself if that's the kind of thing you like to do. If you like history, consider touring your state capitol building. Residents usually don't have to pay for that privilege, and you could make an afternoon of it in your capital city. There's often other museums nearby that you could take advantage of. If you want to add a little more to your budget, you could maybe get a nice lunch and just make an afternoon of it down in the city. The state that I live in also has a really nice state museum that is completely free for residents to explore, and it's super cool. So look and see if something like that might work for you. Something I used to do as a young girl with my grandmother was go look at model homes, and we would always make a day out of it. She would pick different neighborhoods that had really fancy model homes, and we would just go and walk through and explore. I had fun just kind of daydreaming and pretending like I lived there, and I know she enjoyed just getting ideas about decorating or things that she could do to her own house. And then we'd usually go and grab lunch and just really enjoy the afternoon. But you don't even have to do that. You can keep it completely free and just go explore the model homes and have fun. You can also look for local farms in your area that will do tours, and a lot of times they'll have different you pick type of things. So you pick strawberries or you cut flowers. Those can be a really fun way to spend a little bit of money, but it's about the experience. So you can go and pick some strawberries and you get to leave with these delicious strawberries, but you got to enjoy the process of doing it. Or maybe you leave with a pretty bouquet of flowers. So these ones wouldn't usually be completely free, but the pricing is usually pretty good, and you leave with the product. So you're not just paying for the experience, you get the experience and then you also get to leave with something. So that makes it a little bit more bang for your buck. Another one that isn't free, but you can definitely keep within your budget would be exploring your local food truck Fridays, or whatever your area might call it. You can try food from different local vendors. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg. You can share something, or maybe you just go for the dessert or to try out that new smoothie truck and just walk around and enjoy the ambiance and people watching. Definitely something that could fit into your budget and still be a lot of fun. Also look for those small local museums that are not on everybody's radar. They're usually very unique because they have to do with something that the area is known for or was known for. Oftentimes they are free or extremely inexpensive. They might have some limited hours depending on the size, but something like that, if you're interested in history or you want to know the history of your local area, or you just want to have something to do to get out of the house for a couple of hours, can be a great way to learn something, enjoy some history, and keep your budget in check. One of my favorite things to do to spend an afternoon is sample a new coffee shop. And I happen to live in an area that just seems to attract all the cool coffee shops. So there's always something new to try, and I think that's so much fun. It's a great place. I love to meet a girlfriend at a coffee shop. Maybe we do some Bible study together or just chat and catch up. You're spending, I don't know, $5, $7. It's not something you're doing all the time. You can easily work that into your budget and just enjoy the ambiance of that shop. They each have their own kind of vibe and you can enjoy it. Try a new coffee drink that maybe is unique, one that you wouldn't have for yourself at home, and enjoy some friend time too. Or you can take that coffee and do a little bit of window shopping, which is another great idea to really stretch your budget. To me, like a quirky bookstore and a nice cup of coffee and just spending a nice day wandering through there and checking that out, that sounds like an awesome way to spend an afternoon. Another inexpensive way to have some fun is look and see if there's some restaurants nearby that might be doing a quiz night or a game night. You can go and share an appetizer with somebody or maybe dessert. You don't have to spend a lot of money on the food, but you could participate in the trivia night or whatever they're having, or even watch other people do it, kind of like a live game show, and just kind of have a good time. Definitely easy to fit into your budget. We have a couple local discount movie theaters in our area that will do movies that are either just coming out of the theaters or maybe they've already been out of the theaters, and the ticket prices and the concessions are deeply discounted. Now, they're not usually the nicest theaters. You're not going to get that stadium seating and reclining chairs and all of the bells and whistles, but the prices will reflect that. Another cool thing that I found in our area, I actually found several, are some older theaters that used to run shows back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, they will do free shows sometimes or very, very inexpensive shows because you're not getting all of the fancy technology, but you get to have that sort of historical experience and enjoy a movie for pennies on the dollar in just kind of a different setting, which could be fun too. Check out event centers in your area to see if they're doing any kind of traveling shows or expos. We recently took our youngest son, who's kind of into coin collecting, to a coin show in the larger city that we live near, and that was completely free. We only had to pay for parking, and that was not very expensive. They had concessions inside that were very inexpensive. We actually just ate before we went, but you can go and just check out something that you're interested in or learn something new and make a day of it for practically free, sometimes even completely free. Sometimes you will have to pay for tickets to get in. It just depends on what it is. And remember that cheap is in the eye of the beholder. You're trying to make your budget stretch and still find ways to have a good time while being faithful to stick to your budget and not bust your budget. Local farmers markets during farmers market season can be a great way to spend an afternoon. You don't have to buy anything. You could put a little money in your budget so that you could treat yourself to something, and you can find inexpensive things for sure at a farmer's market, but just taking some time to stroll, and maybe you even combine it with a cup of coffee from a local coffee shop if there's one nearby. Sometimes it's fun to just wander around and look at what they have to offer. We have some dear sweet friends whose son is very active in his high school theater program. So we've made several nights of just going out there and hanging out with them and going to watch the kids perform. It's a great way to support the kids and what they're doing, support the theater programs in the local schools that tend to not have very big budgets, and also just get to enjoy some theater yourself for a very inexpensive price. And speaking of local high schools or even colleges, you can find excellent sports games to go watch for very inexpensive. Sometimes there's a small ticket fee, but it's nothing compared to what you'd get at the bigger parks. It's a little bit more of an intimate setting. We have a school nearby us, a college, that does an awesome baseball game. It's really fun, very inexpensive, cheap concessions, and you can just go and really get up close and watch some really good ball. And it's very easy to fit stuff like that into your budget. And if you don't have a budget, but you know you need one, click over here into this video where I talk about 5 different types of budgets so you can find the one that works right for you. And I'd love to hear in the comments down below, how are you having fun without breaking the bank? Thanks for watching.